Hi, Paul Thomson here from Spitfire Audio. I'm very excited today to be bringing you the balance of the Symphonic Strings section in the Abbey Road Orchestra. Yes, it's the violin twos, violas and the basses added to make your full complement of strings. And it's the simplest library I have ever used to get an incredible, expressive, emotive, beautiful sound straight out of the box. And yet it's also the most detailed string library and the most complex under the hood that we've ever made. So we've got 285 hours of recording here over 95 sessions, just under 1 million samples, and nearly 8,000 hours of editing and production time. It really is a monumental achievement by the team here at Spitfire. And I think you're going to agree, it sounds absolutely incredible. Let's just start off. I've put together 2 quick sketches to show you the legato patches and then the spicatissimo patches. So I'm just going to play those first and then we'll dive in. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the overall sound. Just 2 very quick sketches I put together to show you how the strings work together. And all we're using here, as you can see, is just the Simon Rhodes Mix 1, which is the mix that you get with the core version of the library. But obviously with the Pro version, you've got that second mix and also a whole load of other mic signals as well. We'll dive into that in a little bit. So let's take a look at the violas. I'm going to start with the extended performance legato. I'm just going to play a little bit and then I'll show you exactly what's happening under the hood. So as you can hear, super wide dynamic range, incredibly agile, and lots of control as you're playing. It's the easiest library that I've ever used to just get a great sound straight away without having to faff around with loads of different controls and key switches and mixing and all that kind of stuff. It just sounds wonderful straight out of the box. So what's happening with the note attacks first up? So let's play very gently on the keyboard. And you get that beautiful slow attack, soft attack to the note. That happens below 20. And then between 20 and 109, you get the standard attack. And then above 109, you get the hard attack, which is a Marcato style. So with those 3 options, you can just choose exactly how you want your phrase to start. You've also got control over the dynamic using CC1 and also the level of vibrato using CC21. Now here, when I overlap the notes and play the second note very softly, again below 20, I get the portamento effect, that kind of beautiful finger slide up the fingerboard. And that between about 15 and 20 is kind of graded. So you get progressively less portamento until you hit the normal fingered transition, which sounds like this. And that's the standard movement, all under the same bow, but just placing the finger down on the following notes. Then if you play hard, again above 109, we get the hard attack, the kind of slightly détaché style, which you get from a bow change. And between those 3, you have all of the options you need to articulate your musical phrasing within a line of notes very, very simply. This is a new type of legato transition which we created during our research and development phase at Abbey Road. And this is what we call Legato Allegro. And it's designed for those faster moving, musical, flowing passages where you tend to have that slightly arpeggiated figure. If you want to do something that's fast and stepwise, then you have the run articulation as well, which again, all of these separately recorded transition samples. So to get that kind of really fantastic, kind of fast-moving, slightly blurry, exciting sound, you just literally play at that speed and that's automatically selected for you under the hood. Now, if you want to go in and control these for very specific parts that you're playing in, then you can use the separated out individual legato transitions all here within the articulation section. So, what else have we got going on in here? Well, let me demonstrate a couple of the other patches for you. So we've got the extended longs. Now these are your long notes that you can play polyphonically, so chordally, but they have those three different attacks. So for example, using the softest attack, the standard attack, and the hard marcato attack. So for example, if we wanted to play something where we were playing along and then I just want to bring one high note in with a very gentle attack, but I'm playing quite marcato for the rest of it, that would sound like this. And as you can hear, that higher note just literally crept in really gently. And so as you're playing, you can control these things very simply from the keyboard, or you can always go in afterwards and edit the velocity of the note that you want to change. Flautando, one of my favourite sounds. And then, as usual, in the violas, we have these four different lengths of short notes, starting with the shortest, the Spicatissimo, the slightly longer Spiccato, the longer Staccato, and then the hardest attack, the Marcato, and that kind of declaratory style, slightly longer. And as you can hear, a super wide dynamic range across every single one of those short notes, from whisper quiet to super blisteringly loud. Of course, we have the tremolo. Beautiful harmonics. A lovely cheeky pizzicato. And of course the trills all the way up to the major third. And then at the back, after these separated out legatos, you have the non-extended versions of the long and the two performance and lyrical legatos there. Let's have a look at the second violins. So as you can hear, incredibly playable, simple, easy to use. Everything just happens out of the box. I mean, if we just dive in to these different attacks again, we have the lowest velocity gives you the most gentle, softest attack. Then the medium velocity. And the highest velocity gives you that marcato. Very, very abrupt and slightly aggressive attack to the note. So that controls the opening note of any phrase that you're using. You can also obviously crossfade between the dynamics here to get an added degree of control. But then for the second note, you have those three options, as usual with all of these string sections. The portamento at the lowest velocity for the second note. And that grades down between about 15 and 19 in the velocity so that it becomes progressively less portamento. And then once you hit 20, you're into the standard fingered transition. But you also have this slightly détaché bowed transition at the top of the dynamic range. And again, that gives you added control over how you articulate the phrasing within your musical line. And it just gives you so much control just literally from playing on the keyboard. We have the Legato Allegro, which is our faster moving flowing passage legato. Again, a newly recorded and newly created way of recording these transitions using our original research and development that we did in Abbey Road prior to starting the recordings. And then we have our runs as usual as well. And that just simply triggers a different set of recordings for when you are playing very fast. So all of this happening under the hood, incredibly simple to use. The beautiful sound out of the box is the Simon Rhodes Mix 1, which is so useful for kind of a general every kind of use. And then if you have the Pro edition, then obviously you have the second mix and all of the different individual mic signals in there. And just to give you a very quick demonstration of those, I'm going to put the close ribbons up and I'm going to put the outriggers and the mids up. Just as an example mix, that sounds like this. So back to our mix 1, and let's check out the long extended. This is for playing polyphonically, but when you still want those different attack options. Incredibly useful. Check this out. That was the softest attack, and now the medium and the Marcato. So you can be playing Marcato with the hard attack by playing hard on the keyboard, and then introduce a very soft attack by playing that note softer. And as you can hear on those last two notes, I played the first one softly to get the slow attack and the second one hard to get the Marcato attack. So a huge amount of control without messing with key switches and all that kind of stuff. Sounds beautiful, loads of control just from playing on the keyboard. So let's check out the Flautando. Oh, it's lush. Such a great sound. So here with the second violins, we have the standard 4 lengths of short notes. So the tightest first, our spiccato, which is slightly longer. Again, very, very wide dynamic. The staccato. And for the longest and hardest attack, the Marcatos. As you can hear, you can even go on the Marcatos whisper quiet. The players are playing the same style of attack, the same style of articulation, and the way that the note is being performed, but just much, much quieter. We've got our cheeky pizzicato. And of course the trills as before. And again, very, very dynamic control there. And then as usual, your separated out versions at the end there. Let's take a look at the basses. So as you can hear, enormously dynamic. You've got all of the same controls. You can play short notes with this patch, but again, you've got those different attacks and all the crafting ability to make this really, really musical expression of your idea. We have the same extended longs with the different attacks on where you can play polyphonically as well. And then let's look at the basses short notes. We've got these 4 standard lengths of notes as usual. Spicatissimo first of all. The super tight stuff. We've got the spiccato, which is slightly longer. The staccato with a slightly different articulated attack and slightly longer again. And the marcato for that heaviest attack and the longest note length. Absolutely beautiful. It's like the players are literally sat there in front of you. It's so wonderfully performed and recorded. The tremolo in the basses is always a fabulous sound, from whisper quiet to that huge roar at the end. You really get a ton of sound, a ton of SBL out of the basses when they're playing tremolo. Very, very cool. And you've got the pizzicatos, which in the basses, again, it's this wonderful sound. It's kind of full and rich. This is a symphonic size section, so you've got 8 basses there. And it's got that wonderful, almost like there's almost a kind of pulse that you feel in your body with the movement of the air down at that kind of pitch level. It's really quite fantastic. The Col Legno is in the basses. By playing a short note with the back of the bow, with the wood of the bow, that gives you the loudest sound in the string section down low. But you've got, again, a full dynamic range there. So you can really use if I play that in octaves, you've really got a strong punch there, really fantastic sound to use to give an extra impact to a chord. But you've also got that very almost skeleton-like kind of soft version, which is just super creepy. Really love that. We've got our minor and major second trills, the measured trems, but also your separated out legatos and the non-extended versions of the longs and performance and lyrical legatos, as in the other string sections. So that's a brief look at these 3 new string sections. That brings this symphonic string collection recorded in Abbey Road Studio 1 to completion. It's, as I said at the beginning, so easy to use, gives you such a musical sound, and recorded by Simon Rhodes, a Grammy Award-winning engineer and incredible musician himself. It's just sits together without you having to mess around with mixing and EQing things and trying to get it to sound right. It just sounds great straight away. And the amount of R&D that we did at the beginning of the process has really paid dividends in the controllability of the patches to give you super simple patches that give you lots and lots of different musical options as you're playing. Clocking in at just under 1 million samples and 285 hours of recording time in Abbey Road, this really has been a mammoth project. And a really great first full section of our orchestra in the Abbey Road Orchestra collection. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.